I am Adam, 32, male, and they played with my emotions. So I played with their expectations and left them in the dust. It's a truth that feels both triumphant and deeply painful. For a long time, my life revolved around two people, Mark, my best friend since we were kids, and Chloe, my partner of 6 years. We were an inseparable trio, our lives a beautifully tangled mess of inside jokes, shared dreams, and unwavering loyalty. I, a software engineer, was the quiet anchor, the one who worked meticulously behind the scenes. Mark, a charismatic startup founder, was the dazzling visionary, and Chloe, a socially ambitious PR specialist, was the charming face of our world. The first hint of discord, I now realize, came a few years back. Mark, always full of big ideas, pitched me a grand vision for a tech startup. It was brilliant, but it was just a concept. I spent months of my free time building the core technology, a sophisticated algorithm that was the heart of the entire idea. When I presented it to Mark, he barely glanced at the code. "Incredible, Adam, this is it," he boomed, a hug that felt a little too theatrical. He then immediately began talking about branding and funding, my contribution already relegated to a technical detail. I brushed it off, happy just to be a part of his dream. Then there was the slow, agonizing end of my relationship with Chloe. We had been together for 6 years, talking about marriage, about our future. But as Mark's startup gained traction, Chloe's attention seemed to drift away from me and towards him. She'd start subtle, almost imperceptible conversations that subtly devalued my contributions. "Adam's so good at the quiet stuff," she'd say to Mark, her gaze lingering on him. "But you, Mark, you just have that presence, that charisma." It was a constant, low-level chipping away at my self-worth. The final and most devastating foreshadowing of their betrayal came during a casual dinner. Chloe, her eyes avoiding mine, told me she felt we needed a break. "You're just not ambitious enough, Adam," she said, her voice surprisingly cold. "You're happy in the background, but I need someone who wants to be in the spotlight." My heart shattered. Her words were a lie, a cruel dismissal of my quiet ambition and unwavering dedication. I now realize she was clearing a path, not just for herself, but for Mark, for a future I was never meant to be a part of. The stage was being set for a betrayal so profound it would shake me to my core. Chloe's words, "You're just not ambitious enough," felt like a physical blow, a calculated lie that shattered our 6-year relationship. In the midst of my heartbreak, Mark, ever the opportunist, swooped in. He offered a comforting hand and a seemingly incredible business proposal. "Don't listen to her, Adam," he said, his voice full of feigned sympathy. "Your ambition is different, it's real. Let's build something together. I need your mind, your skills. We're on the cusp of something huge." He convinced me to pour my entire life savings into his startup. He promised me a co-founder's stake, a significant percentage of the company, and a huge payout from an impending acquisition deal he was negotiating. He had me sign a few vague legal documents, reassuring me they were just standard procedural stuff for seed funding. He made me feel like an essential part of the team, the brilliant technical mind that would make his vision a reality. He played on my shattered self-worth, making me feel valued, needed, and powerful, all while secretly orchestrating my complete and utter ruin. I threw myself into the work, pouring my energy and expertise into perfecting the code for the startup's core technology. I was consumed by it, working tirelessly, believing I was building not just a company, but a future for myself. Chloe, meanwhile, had completely disappeared from my life, her absence a raw, gaping wound. Mark, our supposed mutual friend, became my only confidant, my only source of emotional support. He'd talk about his meetings with investors, about his exciting new marketing strategies, always with a subtle but insistent air of superiority. I was too wrapped up in my work and my own pain to see the signs of their continued, intertwined deception. One evening, Mark came over to my apartment, a triumphant smile on his face. "It's done, Adam," he boomed. "The acquisition deal is finalized. We're about to be millionaires." My heart soared. I had done it. I had survived the heartbreak and built a new future for myself. I hugged him, feeling a surge of pride and relief. "And I have another announcement," he said, pulling out his phone. "A celebratory one. It's a bit of a surprise." He pulled up a news article from a prominent online tech magazine. The headline read, "Tech power couple Mark and Chloe announce new partnership." Below it was a glossy photo of them, smiling, her arm wrapped around his. The article announced their new romantic relationship, and in a brief, dismissive line, mentioned that they were now the sole founders of the newly acquired startup. My blood ran cold. The celebration, the promises, the co-founder's stake. It was all a lie. He had used my heartbreak, my talent, and my money to build a company he now intended to share with the woman who had broken my heart. The casual cruelty of it all, the complete disregard for my existence, was a betrayal so profound it transcended pain and became a chilling, unshakable rage. The fire was lit. The news article, with its glossy photo of Mark and Chloe, their smiles radiating triumph, was a physical blow. The world tilted on its axis, and the apartment, my sanctuary, suddenly felt like a stage for a cruel, cosmic joke. Tech power couple, sole founders, my name, my work, my sacrifice. It was all erased with a few careless words. The pain of Chloe's initial betrayal of her not ambitious enough lie was nothing compared to this double-edged sword of deceit. They had played with my emotions, my money, and my life, and they were celebrating it publicly. I didn't scream. I didn't break down. A cold, surgical precision descended upon me, a stillness that was far more terrifying than any outburst. Mark, witnessing my silence, seemed to interpret it as a sign of defeat. He clapped me on the shoulder, a condescending gesture of feigned sympathy. "Look, Adam, I know this is a lot," he began, his voice dripping with condescension. "But Chloe and I, we just click. And the startup, well, it's a business. We had to make some tough decisions. I managed to choke out, my voice sounding distant, foreign even to myself. You're a brilliant developer, Adam," he continued, completely missing the deadness in my eyes, "but you're not a leader, not a face. We couldn't put a co-founder's stake in the hands of someone who doesn't have that ambition." He then tried to offer me a small, dismissive severance package. A paltry sum compared to the life savings I had poured in, and a vague consulting role for the new company. I just stared at him, at his self-satisfied smile, and at his phone screen, which he had left on the coffee table, a constant reminder of their victory. He thought he had won. He thought he had broken me and gotten away with it. He had taken my money, stolen my girlfriend, and usurped my work, all while feigning friendship and offering me empty condolences. It was the moment the heartbroken, betrayed Adam died, and a new, colder, more calculating version of myself was born. He had no idea what he had done. He thought he had the core technology, my brilliant algorithm, completely. He was wrong. The documents I had signed were vague, yes, but he had overlooked one crucial detail. I had a digital safety net, a single master key that controlled the core functionality of the code, a key they thought they had. It was a failsafe, a backdoor, I had built in for bug fixing and updates, and it was still completely under my control. He didn't have my code. He only had a shell, a ticking time bomb waiting for me to detonate it. I smiled, a slow, deliberate smile devoid of warmth or forgiveness. "Don't worry about me, Mark," I said, my voice eerily calm. "I think you and Chloe are going to have a very interesting partnership." He took my calm as acceptance, a sign of my broken spirit. He was wrong. They had played with my emotions, and now I was going to play with their expectations. And I would leave them in the dust, watching their victory crumble around them. The moment Mark left my apartment, a torrent of emotions I had suppressed for weeks erupted. Grief, shame, and a searing anger, all boiled together into a toxic stew. The apartment, once my sanctuary, now felt like a prison, each corner a fresh reminder of the lies they had built their betrayal on. My friends and family called, shocked and confused by the news article. Their attempts at comfort were well-meaning, but they only served to underscore the depth of my humiliation. I had lost everything, my relationship, my life savings, my best friend, and my professional identity. But beneath the devastation, a cold, hard logic began to take over. I had a weapon, a final failsafe they had no idea existed, the backdoor to the core algorithm, the heart of the startup. They thought they had the keys to the kingdom, but they were about to find out they only had access to a locked, empty castle. My first task was to secure and perfect this weapon. I spent the next few weeks in a feverish state, working relentlessly on a new, superior version of the algorithm, one that was faster, more efficient, and completely independent of their stolen code. The betrayal that had shattered me also became the singular focus that drove me forward. Mark, meanwhile, continued his theatrical performance. He would send me condescending texts, offering to buy me dinner, or help me find my next step. He had no idea he was talking to a dead man walking, a ghost of his own making, a man who had already moved on from his perceived defeat. I responded with a detached politeness, allowing him to believe he was in control, that I was a broken man gratefully accepting his crumbs of charity. This was a crucial part of my plan. Let them believe they had won. Let them bask in their false victory. Chloe, the emotional coward, had disappeared entirely. Her silence was a cruel testament to her part in the betrayal. She didn't have the decency to call, to explain, to offer a word of comfort. Her PR-perfect public image remained untarnished, and I, the victim, was painted as the not ambitious enough footnote in her grand narrative. Her emotional disregard would be a key target of my revenge. I knew their weaknesses, Mark's arrogance, his blind faith in his own charisma, and his complete disregard for technical details. He wouldn't check the code. He would assume it was perfect. Chloe's social ambition, her hunger for public approval and prestige. They would spend their time and stolen money on branding, on launch parties, on public relations, never imagining that the product they were selling was an empty shell, a useless piece of software. My plan was simple, and in its simplicity it was devastating. I would let them build their expectations to an impossible height, and then, at the moment of their greatest triumph, I would pull the rug out from under them, revealing their fraud to the world and leaving them in the dust. The fire was lit, and the embers were glowing with a patient, dangerous heat. The weeks that followed were a testament to my cold, relentless focus. While Mark and Chloe, riding the wave of their stolen acquisition, reveled in their public triumph, I worked in isolation, my new code becoming my life's work. I spent countless hours perfecting a new algorithm, one that was not just a replacement for my old one, but a monumental leap forward. It was faster, more intuitive, and built on a foundation of genuine innovation, not stolen ideas. My workspace, once a corner of our shared apartment, became a fortress of my own design, a place where the pain of betrayal was channeled into a powerful, creative purpose. I kept a detached but vigilant eye on Mark and Chloe's public persona. Their social media was a carefully curated highlight reel of their tech power couple life, photos from exclusive industry parties, articles praising their visionary leadership, and glamorous posts of Chloe celebrating her new role as the company's head of PR. They were spending the startup's money on image, on branding, on building an empire of expectations. It was a beautiful, shiny shell, and I was about to show the world that there was nothing inside. The moment for my reveal was fast approaching. Mark and Chloe, in their hubris, had announced a major product launch event, a global live stream where they would unveil their revolutionary software to the world. It was to be their moment of ultimate triumph, the culmination of all their lies and manipulations. I knew this would be my stage. I used my old, forgotten connections in the tech community to my advantage. I quietly reached out to a few trusted developer friends, telling them I had a new game-changing product. I needed their help to build a new company from scratch, and in secret, they, having heard the whispers of Mark and Chloe's betrayal, were more than eager to help. We named our new company Phoenix Innovations, a defiant nod to my resurrection from the ashes of their deceit. On the day of the launch, I was a ghost at the very back of the auditorium, watching the spectacle unfold. Ben and Chloe were on stage, radiant in the spotlight, their confident smiles a cruel mockery of my pain. They spoke of innovation, integrity, and disrupting the market, words that felt like a slap in the face. Their presentation began, and they unveiled their product. It was a beautiful, flashy user interface, exactly what Chloe's PR magic had promised. The audience, blinded by the hype, seemed impressed. Then came the moment of truth. Mark began the live demonstration of the product's core functionality. The moment my algorithm was supposed to kick in, he smiled at Chloe, a triumphant look passing between them, and clicked the button. But nothing happened. The screen froze. The beautiful, shiny user interface was a useless shell, a monument to their fraud. The silence in the auditorium was deafening, the laughter from Mark and Chloe a distant, haunting memory. As panic began to set in on stage, I made my move. From a laptop in the back of the auditorium, I launched my own website. A simple, elegant landing page appeared on the screens of every phone in the room, sent via a pre-programmed alert to everyone connected to the conference Wi-Fi. The headline read, "Welcome to Phoenix Innovations." Below it was a link to a live demonstration of my new, superior product, running in real time, its functionality flawless and its speed breathtaking. The message was clear, undeniable, and devastating. Chaos erupted. The screens in the auditorium, once showcasing Mark and Chloe's useless software, were now a cacophony of baffled journalists, angry investors, and confused audience members, all staring at their phones, watching the live demonstration of my superior product. The silence on stage, where Mark and Chloe stood frozen in a state of sheer panic, was a testament to their spectacular failure. Mark, his face a mask of horror, frantically tried to restart the program. Chloe, her PR-perfect smile gone, was whispering furiously, her eyes wide with fear. They had no idea what was happening. They had no idea I was the one who had pulled the plug on their lies. The laughter they had so carelessly directed at me was now their own public humiliation, a brutal form of poetic justice. As the live demonstration of Phoenix Innovations software concluded, I sent a final message to the screens of every phone in the room. It was a simple, short text. They played with my emotions, so I played with their expectations. Adam. The reveal was complete. A tidal wave of understanding washed over the audience. Whispers of my name, of the betrayal, of the stolen idea, spread through the room like wildfire. Journalists, now armed with a real story, began to clamor for interviews. Their attention completely shifted from the failing product on stage to the one that had just been launched from the shadows. Mark finally saw me at the back of the room. Our eyes met, his filled with a cold, impotent rage. He lunged off the stage, pushing past his bewildered team, his face contorted in a snarl. "You did this," he roared, pointing an accusatory finger at me. "You sabotaged me." I simply shook my head, my face calm, a look of profound satisfaction in my eyes. "No, Mark." I said, my voice clear and steady. "I didn't sabotage you. Your startup was. A lie, a beautiful facade with no substance. You sabotaged yourself." Chloe, meanwhile, was being cornered by a group of investors and journalists, her face a picture of terror as she tried to defend herself. The power couple was fractured, their lies exposed for all to see. They had thought they could break my heart and walk away, leaving me with nothing. They were wrong. I had meticulously planned their downfall, turning their moment of ultimate triumph into a public spectacle of their own making. They were left on a stage of their own lies, while I, a ghost in the machine, had just launched a new, thriving reality. The fire was raging, and they were caught right in the middle of it. The fallout from the launch event was cataclysmic for Mark and Chloe. The story of their betrayal, of the stolen technology, and of their failed, fraudulent product went viral overnight. Mark, the charismatic visionary, was exposed as a shameless fraud who built an entire company on a stolen idea and empty promises. Chloe, the PR specialist, became the face of a failed and unethical venture, her reputation irrevocably tarnished. Their investors, furious and humiliated, launched lawsuits, and their stolen startup crumbled into dust. Their tech power couple, a narrative once a symbol of success, became a cautionary tale of greed and betrayal. They were left with nothing but the ruins of their own making, a public disgrace that would follow them forever. For me, the aftermath was a journey of profound liberation and self-discovery. The cold, relentless focus on revenge slowly gave way to a renewed passion for my work and a quiet sense of triumph. Phoenix Innovations, my new company, soared. The elegance and superiority of our software, combined with the powerful story of its creation, resonated with the tech community and beyond. We secured new investors, hired a team of talented and ethical developers, and built a company on a foundation of integrity and genuine innovation. The same ambition that Chloe had dismissed as not enough was now the driving force behind my success. I learned invaluable lessons from the ordeal. I learned that my self-worth was not dependent on validation from others. I learned that my quiet dedication and meticulous work were not a weakness, but my greatest strengths. The pain of the betrayal had been immense, but it was also the crucible that forged my resilience and my resolve. I emerged from the fire not broken, but stronger, wiser, and more successful than I had ever dreamed. I saw Mark and Chloe once, a few years later, at a casual coffee shop. They looked strained and tired, shadows of the confident, charismatic people they once were. They were working in obscurity, their grand ambitions a distant, bitter memory. They saw me, but their gaze was filled with a look of shame and regret, a silent acknowledgment of the price they had paid for their deceit. I simply nodded, gave them a polite, detached smile, and walked away. They played with my emotions, and I played with their expectations. And in the end, I didn't just walk away, I soared, leaving them in the dust, a permanent, unforgettable monument to the consequences of their betrayal. My life, once shattered, was now a testament to the power of resilience, integrity, and the sweet, quiet satisfaction of a justice served. After listening to today's story, perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories. We are all human. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon.